Hello. How is everyone doing? Hello, Nicholas. I have a little bit of coffee left, so I figured I would finish this first. You know, we can chat about Flute Masters while I finish this. And then we're going to jump into these lovely flutes. Hello, Michael. Hello, Miguel. Hello, Susie. How are y'all doing today? What question should I ask today? I usually like to kind of ask more like life questions, like what you're up to and stuff. Or like, what's your drink of choice? That type of thing. Hello, Adrian. How are you? Good evening, where you are in the world. Any suggestions on what I should ask? If you're a flute, what brand are you? I love it. I'm just gonna go with it. What brand are you? And I'm just gonna put here, tell me in the chat. And I'll put here, no, really, tell me in the chat. So it's gonna look like a poll. You guys don't have to answer the poll, but you guys can tell me if you're a flute brand. What brand are you? Oh, if you're a tea, what kind of tea are you? I like that too. That's cute. Miguel, you were catching up on my streams and saw that we got it switched too. We love it. We love it. We've been slowly collecting the trophies in Mario Kart, and we've done a few of the knockout races. Yeah, those are like, wow. Our thumbs are flat from holding on to the A button for like 11 minutes straight. So Mario Kart, we did buy Donkey Kong, so I'm very much enjoying that. I haven't gotten very far in it because we have been distracted by two things. One is Silk Song finally came out September 4th, so we've been playing that one. That one absolutely gives you the feet sweats. Like, it's the type of game where like you have to concentrate so hard on putting in the correct inputs to do what you actually want to do. You cannot just run up to things and mash. Like you cannot just run up and willy-nilly without thinking about it, just like poke at people's faces. It's straight up sparring. It is what Hollow Knight Silk Song is. So we've been really enjoying that. It is very difficult, but we're kind of actually enjoying that challenge. We're not very far in, so if you're further in, please don't spoil. Yeah, so there's that. And then the second thing is Nod Cry just came out in Genshin Impact. The newest region just was released on, I think it was yesterday. So John and I did a lot of kind of like going around unlocking teleport waypoints and like the Statue of the Seven and stuff like that. So we were doing that for a lot of last night. That was how we unwound last night. And this weekend we are planning on doing the Nod Cry kind of Archon quest. So yeah, for anyone who is joining in and not realizing that I'm a gamer, yeah, I am. And we've been playing Genshin Impact since it was released. Actually, John has been playing Genshin Impact since the beta. So like, yeah, he's actually been playing Genshin Impact before it was cool. I remember seeing it on the TV, and I was just like, what kind of Breath of the Wild rip is this? Turns out it's very different from Breath of the Wild, functions very differently. But like the open world concept is very similar, I would say, but like it detours very quickly from what Breath of the Wild is. So, but yeah, we're very distracted by other games right now, even though we did just get our Switch 2, but we are really enjoying it. It's gorgeous on our TV because it's finally at, 1080p, right? So, yeah, the Mario Kart feels very drifty, very wide, very drifty, very floaty. The like at 150cc does not feel very fast at all because we remember from Mario Kart 8, 150 you just felt like you were flying, and 200 is always really fun, because backwards. But there you go. That's kind of our video game update. Been really enjoying the music in both Nod Cry and in Silk Song. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous music. Just stunning, stunning, stunning music. Yeah, if you guys want like a really wonderful masterclass in like intense chamber music, Hollow Knight and Silk Song is stunning for that type of music. It's very, because it uses a very chamber music sound. It has this very intense, very intimate feel, which I think is perfect for the game. So, yeah. But there you go, Miguel. That's my very long answer to your question. So, Adrian, you would be a Pearl or Miramatsu. I like it. Susie would be a Yamaha 677. Wonderful. And then Nicholas, you'd be a Powell Monka or a Powell Williams. Yep. Michael, let's see. You'd be a Nuvo because you want to be waterproof. I like it. That's a great reason. Love it. So for tea, Susie, you'd be peppermint. I love it. I'm a huge fan of peppermint tea. So many games, so little time. I know, Miguel. I know. That's how we feel. That's absolutely how we feel. The two major games that we finished before this, before we were just kind of like wandering around trying to figure out what our next big game was going to be. The two big games this year were Expedition 33 and Metaphor ReFantazio. Both stunning games. If you guys are into politics, like just general like politicsy, drama, Metaphor ReFantazio is amazing for that. Absolutely, just the storytelling is incredible. So yeah, both of those games though, incredible, absolutely incredible. And another flute brand for Michael would be Guo. I love it. Oh, wonderful. I'm a gamer. I know. So Miguel, you slightly like Mario Kart 8 a bit more, but the new one is still very fun. Feels a teensy bit less challenging in your opinion. I agree. So I feel like if you want to up the ante, the knockout races are a little bit more intense because of that. So like, I do kind of like that you can increase the intensity in different ways rather than just increasing the speed. I thought that was really nice. But we haven't tried the battle mode yet. So we have yet to try that. And we also actually have, well, I think John's tried it, but I haven't tried it. We yet to try the like open world kind of like driving around collecting things. Yeah, but I have yet to, I think, experience that. So I kind of feel like Mario Kart World definitely is like just a completely different experience from Mario Kart 8. But if you want that very technical challenge, I feel like Mario Kart 8 is actually more of a technical challenge. But yeah, Mario Kart World, just wow, music is incredible. Visuals are stunning. You can do more like fun little like tricks and stuff like that. So like, there's more creativity on the part of the player in Mario Kart World. So I think it kind of depends on like what you play the game for, right? Bubble tea counts? Yes, I agree with Susie. Michael, bubble tea absolutely counts. I love it. Miguel, so you are currently Team Pearl, but looking to branch out this year. Oh, exciting. Exciting. Yeah, you agree with my assessment of like world versus 8? Yeah. It's I like it when developers do that, when they try to sort of branch out and sort of offer a slightly different experience for players, because I feel like that can help bring more players into the fold. And you never know who will get hooked on the technical side of things, and then for them they can play Mario Kart 8 and really experience that kind of like that technical skill that is involved. But yeah, give a little something for everyone. Exactly. Oh, if you made your flute brands, what instruments would you make? That's a good question. I really don't know. I think I would probably just start with a C flute and then kind of see what the reception was like. Yeah, I'm more of a fan of like reviewing, other people's flutes. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah. Anyway, I think I want to get started introducing you guys to Flute Masters. So this is not actually the first time we've talked about Flute Masters on this channel. We have mentioned it here and there. Some of you have actually, just like kind of randomly, I don't even know in which stream it happened anymore, but some of you have actually mentioned Flute Masters before. And then one of my students actually got to try a Flute Masters flute, and they are based like way across the pond. So, Flute Masters, at least within the States, has historically been very, very rare. So as a result, a lot of sort of the American market doesn't know about Flute Masters. So, thank you. I didn't even ask them for this, but thank you, Flute Center, for giving me a little bit of a write-up so that I can, properly introduce you guys to Flute Masters. So, Flute Masters Company was established in 1992 by 3 former Yamaha craftsmen. So you are getting that like very meticulous Japanese craftsmanship. So yeah, they're stunning. They're really stunning. And I'm realizing now I probably should open up these flutes so you guys can Google them. So let me do that really quick. All right, here we go. So we have two flutes here, and I'll explain what the differences are between them as I keep reading through here. So Flute Masters originally operated as a flute repair workshop. This is actually very typical. A lot of more what's typical is that a flute repair workshop will tend to like also sell flutes, right? Because there's such a convenient kind of like crossroads between the consumer and also like the brand, the product, right? Like they're like right in between because they're repairing it all the time. So very frequently, flute repair workshops around the world will start selling flutes, and a lot of people who work on flutes start to as they gather experience, a lot of flute repair people turn into they just want to make their own flute because there are things that they want to tweak about how a flute is made and stuff like that. So, you're looking at essentially a ton of experience here, like really hands-on experience. So, Flute Masters began manufacturing flutes to address the needs of professional flute players. So yeah, I actually took a look at their website, and it's very clear that they actually just straight up started with professional level flutes. So that they just went all in from the beginning. Incorporates both traditional and modern flute making techniques. Full line of flutes. They have the full line. So I believe if you go to flute-masters.com, that that is their website. If you don't speak Japanese and you don't read Japanese, just use Google to translate the whole thing for you. I found it very easy to read, even when it was just like auto translated. Um, so yes, so full line of flutes from machine made beginner and step up through gold handmade and everything in between. So fun fact, I got to meet Flute Masters, at least the, I believe it's the Chinese branch of Flute Masters at NFA. And I was really excited when I passed by their booth and I saw them, and I was like, oh my God, right? Because like, you guys had mentioned them and my student had mentioned them. And I really, really wanted to try their flutes because my student told me that when they tried a Flute Master's flute, they felt like it was tiny, like it wanted like a small airstream. It just felt really small, and I was like, oh my God, perfect. Like, is this going to be small enough that I will feel insanely comfortable on this? So, that's why when I saw them, I like freaked out, because I was like, I knew that they're very rare in the States. And I was just like, I don't know how in the world I will ever get my hands on a Flute Masters flute. As it turns out, at NFA, so by the way, guys, this actually has nothing to do with me. This was already sort of a pre-planned thing between Flute Masters and Flute Center. It's just, I met them essentially at the same time that they were talking to the Flute Center. And if anything, I think the Flute Center already had, booked some time to like chat with them and stuff. So, but yeah, they're super sweet. Two of them who were manning the booth had already been watching my videos. One of them had been watching my videos since like he was young, like I think high school, middle school, that type of thing. Super sweet, super sweet. And so I got to spend a good chunk of time trying flutes at their booth. It made it into my vlog, which I have not released yet because I still haven't gotten to that part editing it. I think I'm like right before it. I'm like in the section right before editing that part. But yeah, just like it was great. And then like the one of the other people manning the booth, he told me that I helped, like my videos helped him find his forever flute. That was just so flattering. And then I got to meet the branch manager, the Chinese branch manager as well. And I was way too shy to practice my Japanese with him. But he did understand, and I think he spoke Mandarin fluently. So, the other two manning the booth helped, translate between us. And he's just a super sweet guy. But yeah, I got to try these flutes, or they're actually got to try their higher end flutes at the booth. I didn't actually get to try these ones. So yeah, just like, I'm super excited for these because, I think one of the most frequent, kind of like issues that is raised, like frequently asked question, I guess you could call it, frequently raised issue, is that the flute feels gigantic to actually a lot of a good large chunk of the population in the States. It's quite the strain to, one, feel like you're constantly stretching out your fingers to play the flute. Two, the weight of the flute is very, very heavy. Like the slightly bigger a flute is. And the airstream that is needed for, I would say, like a good chunk of American flutes, the airstream is gigantic. So like, I'm thinking Powell, Haynes, Burkhart a bit, not as much, but so like out of all the American brands, there's a reason why I ended up choosing Brandon because Brandon is sort of like kind of loosely known to make flutes that are generally a little bit smaller than what you would find in the States. And thus the airstream that you produce to blow into a Brandon, comparatively, in my opinion, does actually like feel smaller than other American brands. So, you know, I teach all adults, and so these adults are, you know, various heights, various sizes, various mouth sizes, I mean. And so like I noticed though that the students who tend to have the most issues with like breathing, embouchure, posture tend to be the smaller folks. And I have a good chunk of my studio that are kind of like me on the shorter side, on the lower end of 5 feet. All right. So, so that is why I've been very excited to try these flutes because, and I pretty much confirmed it when I tried their higher end flutes at their booth. I was like, this feels small, and I love it. And like kind of the range of motion in the mouth tends to sort of stay down here. Like a lot of flutes, you know, like in my experience at least, that air bubble tends to want to travel quite high, or at the very least it like, you know, a lot of flutes sound better if you kind of think of like opening up, you know, the space up here. Now the issue is that if you have, you know, essentially like an Asian face like mine, all right, so if you look at the side here, I basically have no nose bridge, okay? And that makes the flute resonate differently in your head. So like that's why there are some flutes that while I can kind of manipulate my mouth to sort of like make extra space if I absolutely need to, like, you know, me doing my like my stupid like double chin thing and like lifting my head and like opening up my mouth more, like I can do that stuff to sort of like forcibly make space for those flutes, but it's not natural to me and it is very uncomfortable. So this flute, like at least the flutes that I tried with Flute Masters at their booth though, I noticed that like the highest the air bubble wanted to go was like here. like here. Like it didn't try to go beyond like higher up in the mouth. So it was very, very comfortable as a result. I was like, oh my God, it's actually staying within the cavity that I actually naturally have in my mouth. And I'm like, okay. And also the airstream was a little bit smaller. And I was like, oh my God, yes. You know, this feels very comfortable. I also noticed that like just the keys felt like they were like a little bit closer. Just that hair closer together is like just enough to make it that much more comfortable. And also one big thing I noticed was that I was playing B-foot joints and they didn't feel like B-foot joints. Somehow it's lighter. And I was like, why am I comfortable with a B-foot joint? So, yeah, just, you know, I personally, like that was my experience trying Flute Masters flutes at their booth. And, you know, so like, I feel like if this type of flute, and hopefully these, you know, mirror kind of the same experience that I had at their booth, but my thought was, you know, we, like, Flute Masters would be filling, like, essentially a gap in the, like, American flute market right now. Like, having something that small is so great because it essentially stops gatekeeping, like, really high level, you know, natural flute playing from people who are smaller. So I'm particularly passionate about this because I'm on the small side. I will say there is that bias, and I am very aware of the bias, but you know, I feel like it's really good to add this into the fold. Do you see what I mean? I'm not saying that this type of flute needs to take over the market. I am saying that this should be part of a market. Like, there should be that accessibility. That's really what I am going for. So, yeah. So there you go. So let's see, Nicholas, they have an all silver seam tube model too. Yes. So if I am correct, like when I looked at their website, I think most of their flutes are seamed. That's what I recall from reading, but you guys can correct me if you'd like. And if Flute Masters is watching this now or later, feel free to chime into the comments or in the chat. But yeah. Next video, I found my dream backup flute. Do you guys know that I sold my Yamaha piccolo and my Trevor James 5X? I sold them one to each to one student. Because I couldn't, guys, I could not buy the Trevor James Grenadilla. Like, that is the only Grenadilla, like, kind of like traditional piccolo that I can play with ease. This is the only one that I don't know, it fits my mouth. It feels good. Yes, so seamed tube, as Nicholas is clarifying in the chat, is when they take a sheet of metal and then they curve it around into a circle, and then they connect it. So that's why there would be a seam, right? So I would not be surprised. I think this one might be seamed and then this one might not be. So this one you can see, I will put this here. So you guys can see how this one has like an extra ring on the head joint. Usually, from what I have learned from you guys, is that if it has this extra ring on the head joint, usually it means that it's a seamed tube. So yeah. Yeah, I totally was drowning in piccolos. You know, when I got the Trevor James Grenadilla, I was like, this is unreasonable. I should not hold on to all these piccolos. These should go to people who want them. And, you know, so I hope you guys don't mind, but I did kind of give my students sort of the top priority for buying them, and they snatched them up. So, yeah. A non-seam is made how? I don't 100% know because I'm not a flute maker. But from what I understand, essentially it's like some sort of mold or something like that. Is that right? It's some sort of mold, I think. Yeah. But yeah, if anyone in the chat exactly knows how a non-seamed flute is created, please feel free to inform us in the chat. Yeah. So there you guys go. That is, you know, a little introduction to Flute Masters and also my experience with Flute Masters. I just wanted you guys to kind of have that full context before we jump into figuring out these flutes. Yeah, because I wanted you guys to know that I absolutely have a bias, and that I am really excited about it, and I didn't want to hide any of that. I wanted that to be just completely transparent, put all my cards on the table so you guys know, like, you guys are on the same page as me. All right? So we should talk about their product lines, though, so that you guys have like a better idea of like their full production line. So there is the SFL series, which is made in China. I believe this top flute is the one that's made in China. So the SFL 218 is all silver plated closed hole C-foot joint. So that would be what we would typically know in the States as like a very typical beginner model flute. So that, again, that's the SFL 218. Then there's one up, which is SFL 318, silver plated, silver lip and riser. So I actually kind of like that sort of in-between step up where they just make the lip and riser silver. That actually does make a huge difference, at least in my experience. Makes the tone a little bit darker, deeper, sweeter. Open hole B-foot joint. Wonderful. Then step up from that, skips one number, so it goes up to SFL 518. This one is a silver head, plated body and keys, open hole B-foot joint. So this is what we would typically know in the States as like your typical step-up model flute. Your typical step-up model flute is a silver head with a silver plated body, usually it's B-foot joint. So I do really like that they have an in-between. Because I feel like that is honestly just more affordable, and I believe a tiny bit lighter because of the silver plated. And then what we have here, I believe, is the 618. Is that right? I think so. Let me see. Yes, exactly. So this one is the next one up. So this top one here is the SFL 618. So this is silver head and body, plated keys, open hole B-foot joint. So yet again, just kind of like, it's almost like an in-between a step up and a pre-professional. I really like that about this, that it's like, it's actually very incremental, like, you know, how much silver you want on there. So that's what we have here. They do also have an SFL Grenadilla. It's a wood head and body with plated keys. Man, I want to try that one. Okay, so that's the SFL series. So that kind of takes you from beginner and then incrementally takes you up to step up. No, before pre-professional. One more time. SFL series is from beginner model all the way up to like pre-professional. That's what I would say. And then we have the MFC series. So I think this is like Masters Flute Company. I think that's what it is. Don't quote me. But the MFC series is this lower one that we have here. This one is made in Japan. So this one, it is quite a bit more expensive. So this, not this one yet, the model before this one is called MFC 371. It's a silver head, plated body and keys, open hole B-foot joint. So you can have a Japanese step-up model if you would like. This one is the Japanese make of this one. So this one is the MFC 471, and this is a silver head and body, so all silver, okay? Plated keys, open hole B-foot joint. So technically speaking, the base specs of both of these flutes are exactly the same. It's just that one is made in China and then the other one is made in Japan. And so you're getting slightly different like craftsmanship here, and also different price points. So let's see. If we're going to go, let's start. I want to start with the Chinese one. So this one is the SFL 618. So the full specs for this one is sterling silver, 0.925 head joint and body, silver plated mechanism, drawn tone holes, French open hole model, pointed key arm, stainless steel springs, 0.016 inch or 0.40 millimeter tubing, so standard wall. Tuned at A equals 442, offset G, split E mechanism, B-foot joint, and is made in China, and it is going for actually legitimately the low price of $2,570. That is such a steal. Such a steal. So Flute Center was amazing about this, and if you guys want to kind of like get an idea of different comparable models to this, so some comparable models to this one in price point and in specs is the Yamaha 462H, but that does not have a split E, and it's more expensive. That one is going for about $2,800. Also similar to the Dijou 801, going for close to $3,000. Also close to the Dijou 701. But the 701, I believe, has Y arms, Y key arms, whereas this one has pointed key arms. And it is going for the same price, so 2,570. So price point is exactly like the 701, but you get pointed key arms here. And then we have the Amadeus 780. That one is 3,700-ish, and also a Zumi 3. So like it's kind of in that family of flutes. So that family is sort of like, as I was saying, it's kind of like pre-professional, I would say, like higher end of pre-professional, like pretty solidly pre-professional. So let's see. Flute Center says, like, you know, from their point of view, the Flute Masters company's SFL 618 is competitive on price for all similar step-up models. Great option for price-sensitive consumers. So yeah, if you want great bang for your buck, basically, this is fantastic, provided that it fits with you and your way of playing and your mouth, you know, your size, etc., etc. So pretty much this is like, it's exactly what I you know, was saying earlier, that like I'm very excited for this type of flute, this tiny flute. I know it doesn't look tiny, but like when you play it, I'm pretty sure it's going to feel tiny to me. I want this to join the ranks, you know, of kind of like the American flute industry. Yeah, because, you know, all of these flutes, by the way, that Flute Center listed here, the Yamaha, Dijou, Amadeus, and Azumi, all of them, not even joking, play wildly differently from each other. All of them play wildly differently. And then we've got the Flute Masters here as well, which will also play wildly differently. And that's kind of what you want. You want more choices, more accessibility. Hi, Judith. How are you doing? Okay, so now that we've talked through that, I'm going to put away the Japanese one. So this one is the MFC 471. So we're going to put this one away for now, and then we will work on this one. So this is the again, this is the one that's made in China. So this one is the SFL 618. I have prepared our, you know, mouth drawing. So I'm going to just kind of like label it right off the bat so that it's, you know, for anyone joining in, they know exactly what we are working on right now. So we are working with the Flute Masters Company SFL 618. Let me just double check that that is correct. So this, let's see. Yeah, SFL 618. Perfect. Okay. So we have this here. I'm going to put this together, give it a whirl, and we'll take it from there. We'll see what we think. Very excited. If you guys wanted to have another close-up, here's your close-up again. So, you know, for anyone dropping in, pointed key arms, you can see the split E mechanism. My God, do you guys see how low that B flat lever is? That is delightfully low. That is a like small hand dream. If you have large fingers and large hands, you're going to not really like this. This is like, even just from that alone, I'm just like, yeah, built for small hands. And then, yeah, oh, that's nice. Do you see how close the G and the G sharp key are? Like, they're like, the G sharp key is like, in terms of placement, is like almost directly under the G key. Yeah, that's like kind of like another thing that I look for when I'm looking for a flute that would be comfortable on small hands. So stunning. We got Gizmo here, here. It's a stunning flute. It's gorgeous. So Wonderful. There is no C sharp trill though, just so you guys know. I believe I was curious personally, and I went on their website to see like, what if I got like a, this is not, this, I'm not saying I'm going to buy one, okay? But I went and looked, okay? I went and looked, and I was like, what if someone were to custom order a flute? And yeah, very like, unsurprisingly, yeah, you can get C sharp trill and all that jazz if you want. So, but it's just on this model, there is no C sharp trill. And I actually kind of, I kind of see why, because the moment you add a C sharp trill, it makes the whole thing way heavier. And this is because like that rod that needs to exist to, you know, like go from here, like there's like an extra lever here, and there's like a whole nother rod that goes all the way over here, and then there's a whole nother key right here that adds a ton of weight. So in order to like keep the flute lighter, which is better for smaller people, I can see why the C sharp trill is not included. But yeah, as Nicholas is also saying, C sharp trill is only really standard in the US. I am not surprised in the least. But yeah, it is kind of a big weight issue. It's a known weight issue. So I could see why this is like, you know, especially if this is marketed to people who are, you know, slightly smaller, that's really going to be one of the first things to go. So anyway, there's your close-up. We're going to go back to here so I can put it together and give it a whirl. Ah, so excited. Okay. Oh, it's so light. It doesn't feel like a silver, like a full silver flute. Most like full silver flutes, even with the plated keys, does not feel this light. I will say the head joint feels, compared to the rest of the body, the head joint feels heavier. Now I wonder if, what the heck? You guys need to see the crown. Wait a second. Wait a second. What? Excuse me? Look at that. They engraved the crown. What is that? What? It's so pretty. Excuse me? On a pre-professional flute? Excuse me? What the heck? I know, I want an engraved crown now. What is this? Look at that, that's so pretty. What? Okay, legit guys, this is not something you see on a pre-professional flute. You do not see this on a pre-professional flute. This is stunning. What the heck? Wow. What even is happening? What even? Okay, anyway, before I got super distracted there, what I was going to say is that a heavier head joint can help rebalance a B foot joint, because with it being so like long this way. And maybe that's what I was feeling when I was trying this at, you know, trying their flutes at their booth. Maybe that's why I was like, how come, like, you know, like how come it doesn't feel like I'm playing a B foot joint? And I don't know, I would not be surprised if in the design they essentially balance the flute so that like it doesn't feel like you're playing a B foot joint. Wow, that's very balanced. Wow. Yeah, like I feel like I'm not going crazy trying to lift this side. Usually that is my problem. And I have this on pretty much every flute, but I did notice this at the booth, and I'm very happy to feel that the same thing here. Like, and now I realize maybe it's because they balanced it with the head joint. Like maybe they just, maybe, but I mean, this is what I'm feeling as a consumer. I'm like, it feels like the head joint is heavier, so it rebalances the whole thing. I kind of like it. Right, Michael? Isn't it gorgeous? Have I seen song crowns? I have. That is exactly why I was so surprised that there was an engraved crown on this one. Because I know the price point of head joints that have an engraved crown. And it is not this. Vericosin, hello. We're trying Flute Masters. Okay, here we go. Yeah, tiny Airstream. I was actually like putting in way too wide of an Airstream at first, which was why it's just kind of like that, because it's way too wide. So I needed to make it quite a bit smaller. I'm always used to feeling like I have to play like into a flute. So I think here I have to remind myself that I don't have to do that. This is the other thing I noticed. The C is not supposed to sit that high in the mouth with a B-foot joint, at least amongst all the other flutes that I have tried thus far. Usually, if it has a B-foot joint, the C has to sit kind of like, that air bubble has to sit in front of the lower teeth, kind of like down here. But I'm actually feeling it up here. Arguably, maybe even a tiny bit higher than my Brannon with a C-foot. How are they doing this is the question. So tiny. That air bubble is really small. Like, I want to say, feeling wise, it feels like it's at least 2/3 the size of like what I would expect a flute to want. It is very tiny. I am correct. It's very tiny. And because the air bubble is tiny, the airstream behind it is very tiny as well. So you actually don't need a lot of air to play this flute. Not at all. You'll end up way overblowing it if you put in like way too big of an airstream. I feel like everything is in front of the teeth. I'm going to try and see if I can find the C. The C feels like it wants to be here, but I don't know if maybe it's actually like the outlier maybe. Unsure. The highest C is the outlier. And what's funny is that that means that it brings it lower. Okay. Yeah. For a small mouth. Okay. Okay. So, let me answer what Viracosin is saying here. I feel like with my initial review here, I remembered correctly from when I tried them at the booth. Tiny airstream, tiny air bubble, like at most 2/3 the size of, like, for example, the air bubble that I would use on my flute. So because of that, the airstream behind it has to be smaller and narrower, which means that you actually use less air to play. So this is really perfect for someone who has a small mouth. Also, the air bubble does not go up into here. It like goes up here for the high B flat and then comes down and out for the high C. Everything is in the front of the mouth, in front of the teeth. So this means that when you tongue, you really only have to tongue between the teeth. So essentially it's working with very, very constrained space. And I'm guessing it's because the air bubble is so small, it essentially has made that whole range of movement smaller in proportion to the air bubble. So that's probably why this is actually playing, to me, more like the range of a C foot joint, like an American C foot joint flute. The range is pretty much exactly the same. But because the air bubble is smaller, that range is smaller. That's interesting to me. So, Viracosin's question, who would I recommend these flutes to? Small people. Like me. So if you're on the like lower end of 5 foot, higher end of 4 foot, like, and you know you have like comparatively a smaller mouth, because maybe you are like size-wise just proportionately smaller than other people, you might really like this. Like, I'm actually starting to wonder if this is how, like, people who are taller than me, if this is how they feel playing a regular flute, like a regular American flute. Like, essentially, this is so far the first B foot joint that is actually proportional to me. Okay, so let's, you see the shine in my eyes? Right thumb looking real good, and it should not. So yesterday in my practice stream, we were working on having my thumb be right underneath my middle finger, because that gives me way more leverage over the pinky keys. And I found out it actually keeps my pinky relaxed and curved. The two together is a must. Okay, you can't have it curved but also be tensed. Okay, it needs to be curved and relaxed. And so we just figured that out yesterday, and I was like, I know for a fact that I cannot play that way when I have the B foot joint on my flute, because it makes it so heavy that it activates this muscle and to like hold up the flute, right? Because it's just so heavy on that side. you guys, Nicholas is pointing out that my right, like this is legitimately the first B foot joint flute that I can play with proper hand posture, because like they've really made sure to balance it so that like with the weight of the flute going more this way, it can kind of essentially lift the foot joint side. Is that an alto flute? Yeah. Yeah, right. And we were also thinking about more like, I think I went too far in the lifting kind of action for the thumb, so I kind of like made sure I put it at an angle so I'm also pushing. But yeah, that's in my experience, at least, as you know, someone on the lower end of 5 foot, on most B foot joints I actually can't use my thumb like that, because it's just the weight of it is just too much on the right side. But yeah, this is the only one, like so far, Flute Masters is the first B foot flute that I can actually play with proper posture. So I did try the Altus A15. Yeah. So to you felt like was on the smaller side for you? Yeah, not small enough for me. But yeah, I'm not surprised that it would feel smaller to you. Yeah. Same holding idea, but a million times heavier for, was it for tenor sax? Oh, dang. Wow. They are Japanese after all. That's true. That's true. And like that market wants like it to be proportionally a little bit smaller. Yeah. Okay, so I should get to drawing. So I'm just gonna kind of do my usual thing where I go back and forth playing it and drawing it in for you guys. So here we go. Let's make sure I choose the paintbrush first. There we go. Okay. So from what I can tell, right there, it's exactly where the C sits on my flute, except the air bubble is smaller. Again, I almost kind of feel like I have to go like half the size. Like the air bubble almost feels like it's half the size, but I don't want to go way too far in that direction, so that's why I'm telling you guys it's like at most 2/3 the size of like the air bubble size that I'm used to, at least. So the C is like here. It is crazy close. Like just one octave higher and it's like here. It's all real cramped together. It's very, very forward. My goodness. It's very, very forward. So I'm starting to feel it against my, like the bottom of my top lip there, like the inner part. Yep. Right above it. So we have C, C, G, and then C. It's like here. As you guys can see, very far forward. So I'm drawing it this forward because I'm more so feeling the air bubble against the back of my top lip. So I'm feeling it less against my teeth and more against the lip, the inner side of the lip. So the E is right above it. Like something like that. Okay, so for this flute, I do feel like I need to do more of like a frog face, like. Okay, so I do have to jut it out, and then that's the only way I can make enough space for the G. Actually, I'm gonna redraw. Yeah, there we go. The G is like here. It's so far forward. It's actually insanely far forward. B flat is right up above it. Like around there. So definitely up there I have to really kind of create a lot of space up there. And then good old C is down and forward. It's really hard for me to like keep that spot open because my top lip has to come out so far. Sorry for the struggle. So I have to bring it really forward, keep it there with enough air pressure so that I can form an air bubble against the inside of my top lip. I got it for a hot second earlier. I'm going to trust myself. Did you guys hear me do the regular fingering for C and how clear it sounded? Because I was aiming for that same spot. So I'm aiming for like slightly lower, more forward, but it's like really like very, very forward, right up against like the back of my top lip. So the C feels like it's here. So yeah, my lip has to come out really far for this. So what this is telling me is the tongue is going to be just between the teeth. Can maybe even come out a little bit more for some of the lower notes. Because anytime your air bubble is in front of your teeth, then your tonguing can just be like that the entire time. So let me test that really quick. Wild. This is really good for, you know, especially if you're looking at like a pre-professional. because that way you can just be very consistent about where you're tonguing, and you don't have to worry about moving your tongue or anything like that. So if I'm just going to put in here, I'm just going to put a T right in between the teeth, just to kind of mark that that's where our tongue is going to go. So you can tongue that for the entire range. It's actually insane. I'm going to try double tonguing. I'm going to put the K, and it's going to look crazy, but I'm going to put the K. And try it again. So the K does can come up. It's more forgiving, I would say, than other flutes where you have to tongue so far forward. So the K is more it feels like it goes like here. So it doesn't fully make contact with the roof of the mouth. You're not going tuck-ka, 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 tuck-ka. It's more like yeah, the softest, the g, absolute softest. And because you don't have to make full contact with the roof of your mouth, usually I find that on these flutes you can double tongue faster because you have less motion to go. So less distance, that is, for your T and your K. Okay. I should, for posterity, I should label the air bubbles. Give me a hot second to label the air bubbles. So we have here C4 and then C5, G5, C6. It's a little cramped in here. I hope you guys don't mind. E6, G, oops, not H. There, G6. And then we have B flat 6. And then here is C7. So if you were to compare this to pretty much any other flute that we have reviewed on this channel, you will very quickly realize that this is very unique. This is it. I haven't reviewed a flute that is quite like this, where everything is so far forward. This is a B foot joint, and this map looks more like a C foot joint. On top of that, the outlier harmonic is the highest, is C7. Usually, I would say that the most common outlier harmonics tend to be G6 and B flat 6. Those are the two that tend to kind of suddenly dip lower and more forward. Most common, sometimes the E6, but most common is G6 or B flat 6. I actually find C7 being the outlier, being the least common. I believe, I don't remember which flute it was or which head joint it was, but I have noted this before on only one other one. Yeah, this is actually kind of crazy. I would say maybe this doesn't 100% fit my mouth. I think this would be perfect though if this whole map was slightly further back in the mouth. So I think if I play loudly on this flute, it would feel pretty good. Like if I played very loudly, because one thing that I have been telling you guys is that the smaller your air bubble, which means that, you know, you're trying to play soft, the further forward you need to push it. And then the larger the air bubble, the further back you need to push it into your mouth. So like if you're playing loud, big air bubble, shove your whole map backwards, just a hair, just a bit. And then yeah, vice versa for a soft sound. So yeah, this is very cool to me. Hi, Sean, you're a Muramatsu man. I love it. So let's see. Oh, we're talking about crowns here. Yes. So a heavier crown can help beef up your lower register, but it adds more resistance to your upper register. I wonder if that may actually be happening here. Yeah. So this is very, very cool. I think this is really awesome. Okay, more things to test. Very quickly, let's do some dynamics, art, you know, tone color type stuff. Can you guys even hear that? Normally it's very difficult to sustain such a tiny, tiny sound on the flute. And normally you would never play that way, all right? But I was just trying to see if I could do it. I actually can do that easier on this flute than on my own flute. Maintaining that just like whisper of a sound. That's crazy. Yeah, as I said, the bigger the air bubble, the further back in the mouth it goes. So I wonder if I just played super crazy, insanely loud on this, if this would just make this map that much more comfortable for me. I think so. Anyway, we will continue testing. Did you guys hear how like that's way crazy responsive to like tone color changes. So I am doing something very similar to what I do on my Miteki. So I don't know if this might just be sort of like one of the Japanese craftsmanship type of things, but I do notice that you take your air bubble, and if you make it more narrow, then you get the more hollow, thin sound. And then you just kind of squash it this way, and then it will create that like super rich sound. Yeah. Oh my God. I wasn't expecting that insane of a difference. Like I knew it would make a difference, but I wasn't expecting it to go that rich. When I didn't actually go that, because it's a tiny air bubble, right? So it's, I almost feel like I have more like more range, if that makes sense, because my mouth is big enough compared to the air bubble that now when I like kind of go like this to the air bubble, I can actually really stretch it. Whereas I think physically I might actually run out of space on some flutes. Whereas like here I am not running out of space width wise. Wow. Okay. One difference I am noticing from my Meteki is that, so on my Meteki, and this is how I originally learned how to manipulate tone color, like that flute was my original like playground for tone color. So the air bubble is kind of more shaped like this, like a little bean. And then you kind of take the whole thing, and the whole thing stays pretty rounded. And it goes like this for like a rich sound, and then this for a hollow, thin sound, like more circular. On this one is really interesting because like, so you have your air bubble and it's smaller. I would say it's actually a smaller air bubble than like even my Meteki. So smaller air bubble just in general for your mezzo forte. I'm just going to do it like this so that I can like make the shape a little bit better. But imagine that the air bubble is smaller, okay? When I go into the rich sound, I do more like this. Like it turns into almost kind of like a star shape. Like I'm imagining that at the very least. So like it's like, you know, your air bubble is like this. It's actually very circular for a silver flute. Like it almost plays like a gold. But it's like, so it goes like this, and then it like goes like this for a rich sound. And then like for your thin sound, it's just like kind of what I would expect is typical. You just kind of like narrow down the airstream. But yeah, it kind of does this shape for a rich sound. So it's kind of like going between those two. So I'll try to draw it. I'll draw it up here. So our rich sound airstream shape is more like, oops. Oh God. That's terrible. Once more. Yeah, like that. Like that's what I'm imagining. And then our like thinner sound is more just kind of like this. Okay. I hope that's like the cross section. Wow. Okay. That's insane. The color range is crazy. Last thing I need to do is mechanism. So let's try out the mechanism. That is impressive. It's pinned mechanism. It's insanely smooth. Like, I was actually kind of starting to wonder if it was pinless, because I didn't take a good look at it, but it is pinned mechanism. And so pinned mechanism is really fantastic because it is way lighter in weight than pinless. So again, is a very, very good choice for, you know, a smaller person who needs to kind of lighten up a flute. But man, this craftsmanship is insane. That is smooth as all heck. Yeah, you thought it's pinless too, right? Yeah, like with the action that you're hearing, right? It sounds like a pinless flute. It's pinned. Yeah. How might the material of the riser and or lip plate affect your sound, tone, color, dynamic range, etc.? So the material, I at least noticed that on some of the rare flutes that I have tried that have just a silver lip and riser, but on a silver plated tube, I noticed that compared to all silver plated, it kind of, you get more of the silver ring to it. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but silver has like this kind of very distinct ring to the sound that silver plated doesn't. It's like a deeper, darker ring. And you get a little bit, you get more of that. It's like, it's noticeable. You actually get that when the lip and the riser is silver. So you do get a very similar situation if you're, for example, to get like a gold lip and riser on a silver flute or a silver head joint. You maintain more so the silver ringing sound, but then it's kind of like mellowed out a bit. It's like a mellowed out silver, right? So like I find at least that the lip and the riser, they absolutely, it like kind of, it's like a little blanket. It's like a little frosting, you know? So it's like a little frosting and sprinkles on top of your cake, you know? Like the frosting and the sprinkles have their own flavor, but then most of the cake is still its own big flavor, like a chocolate cake with vanilla frosting, you know? So then when you eat it together, you get mostly chocolate, but with like vanilla like flavoring, you know? Yeah, so it's like frosting is how I would say. Yeah. Yeah, the beefier sound, exactly that's what I mean. Yeah, you get more depth. Yeah. But I hope that makes sense. It's like cake. Okay. Flute is like cake. It's sweet and lovely and delicious. Okay. Anyway, yes, this is pinned mechanism, but it like, I'm not joking, guys. It feels like pinless. That's actually insane. I am noticing that this G sharp key is indeed very comfortable because it's very close to me. I have to say I am very impressed with how smooth the split E mechanism is. On a lot of flutes, some people can actually really tell just by playing it. They can almost kind of feel the extra key action that's happening with the split E mechanism. You cannot hear. It's so smooth and buttery. Like you don't notice that it's a split E mechanism. That is very impressive. So I'm very impressed with that. Let's try out some of the trills. Like that. Okay, what I really like about that, and by the way, I did say that I really like it. I know that I shook my head, but it's because I just can't believe that I'm actually feeling this combo. So typically speaking, if you want your trills to have this kind of like very vibrant sound, like, you know, that sound, you want a little bit more kind of snap and bounce in the mechanism to create that sound. Usually what this means is that there's like a slight bit of resistance as a result. You normally don't get like a light feeling along with the snap, but I am feeling that combo here. So I am feeling that it is light mechanism, but it's snappy. So it creates a very like light, bouncy, snappy trill, which is very unusual. Like I've never felt that before. Especially on a pre-professional flute. That's stunning. Absolutely stunning. Even the gizmo key, it's not floppy. Very, very, very often I do find that gizmo keys tend to be a little bit floppy. It's almost like they've added a little bit of resistance into the gizmo key to match the other keys. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. Even the G sharp key is this kind of like, has a bit of a snap to it. That's really nice. Beautiful. So that's my kind of like reaction and assessment of the mechanism here. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. Wow. Okay, I should play a few tunes. I feel like with this, I'm just going to do just kind of like a selection of tunes and see what it works well with. Whoa! Did you guys hear that like floaty, like it will go with me. Like it's very hard to lose the tone when you kind of ease off of it, you know? Usually I find that if I breathe like that, what I just did on another flute, the tone would disappear for a hot second before it would come back again. It wouldn't do this lovely, like, very buttery smooth decrescendo and then crescendo again. Whoa. Wow. Okay. One thing I have mentioned about other flutes before is that if the bulk of your notes very much follows a predictable path, and like, for example, if like, as you can see here, most of your notes straight up until the absolute highest C that you can hit, all of them follow a very predictable path. This means that you can be very like intuitive about kind of like where you're moving the air bubble. You know, you don't have to be like, oh wait, this one is a G, so it needs to be slightly lower than I think it needs to be. So this really kind of like frees you up to just kind of like just go for it. You just let go, you can express. Makes it easier to do that, I would say. You would still need to train You still need to train yourself to play this way. That is definitely a flute skill that you need to train yourself into. But once you've trained yourself into it, it's very intuitive. Wow. Yeah. Absolutely nuts. I'm going to try another tune. That B flat lever is exactly where I want it to be. Like, it's so low that I, as a small-handed person, I can also just be like, meh, and it's there. Like, just a quick little kind of flick of the wrist, and it's right there. Normally, I feel like I have to be like, ah, like, where is it? So lovely. I will say, I think, that I feel that this flute is definitely kind of, it's very, what's the word? It's very flexible. As I don't know how you guys hear it, but for me, it almost sounded like a completely different flute when I just sort of like changed the tone color and the way that I'm breathing to match the music that I'm playing here, like Alicia from Clair Obscur. So again, I'm just gonna go back and forth so you guys can hear. And then going to Clair Obscur. Like, it sounds like a completely different flute. It's actually like insane, like the range that you can do here. So like if we go more Asian, you can do it. Yeah, more Asian. So it can do that. Wow, that flexibility, you normally don't get that flexibility on a silver flute. I'm just straight up telling you. Like, normally you don't get that crazy of a color range. Yeah. Yeah, kind of like a traditional ethnic flute. Yeah, like it will go with you. It like the core is still there, so you still get a nice sound, but you get that lovely kind of fuzziness around it that you kind of need for that type of music. Sean, thank you for saying that you're guessing this is the professional model. It's not. This is a pre-professional model. The keys are plated. Stunning. Stunning. I'm being legit, guys. I've never been able to dip into so many different colors and styles of playing on a single silver flute. I usually can't get that kind of lovely fuzzy sound on a silver flute. Like, not like that. Like, it needs to have maybe a little bit of wood, or it needs to have like a little bit of gold to mellow it out a bit. What the heck? Oh my. I'm stunned. I am stunned. Now, I will say, while I clean this up, because we need to move on to the other flute, I will say that if you have a larger sized mouth, I don't want to call you guys big mouths, but if you have a larger sized mouth, you may not like this. I'm just going to straight up put that out there. Okay. The air bubble is much smaller than on other flutes. It's like about 2/3 the size of kind of your typical American flute air bubble. And so I believe my thinking is that that is why the map for where the notes, where the air bubble sits, is mimics that more of a C foot joint. Goodness gracious, this thing is just, this is gorgeous. But yeah, I think this is amazing for people with smaller mouths, people who are on a like a sub 3,000 budget. This is insane that you can get this at sub 3,000. Like, absolutely insane. Like, if you could easily, like, if flute is your hobby, easily this is your forever flute. Easy. Absolutely easy. If you are looking into going into university and auditioning, and you have a small mouth, easy. Like, you go in there and you play on this thing, they're not gonna know that you're not playing on a fully professional flute. Like, they're actually not gonna know. The other thing too is that the specs are clearly designed for someone with smaller hands. So again, the B flat lever is much lower. If you have large hands, large fingers, you may not actually find it very easily. But for people with small hands, small fingers, you can actually find it without reaching. And the G sharp key, I feel, is like kind of like closer to your ring finger. And it is also a pinned mechanism, which makes the mechanism lighter. However, it does not sacrifice any of the craftsmanship. It feels like pinless. And even Nicholas in here was saying that he totally thought it was pinless, just from how the mechanism sounded. And there's no C sharp trill, because one, that is actually standard in not America. But two, it's because C sharp trill adds a ton of weight to the flute. So instead they've opted for split E mechanism to, like, you know, make those E's way easier to play. Although for me personally, I never really can feel the difference between regular E and split E. So I personally am not a great kind of person to ask about whether, you know, a flute, you know, a particular flute, like their split E mechanism, if it makes that much of a difference. Honestly, I can't tell. I'm so sorry, guys. But what I can say is that the way that they did their split E mechanism here is stunning. It is amazing. It, like, you don't feel like it. Like, you don't feel that you are playing a flute with a split E. That's how smooth it is. Like, that key action, crazy. I can't feel it. And I played a lot of flutes. I actually can't feel the split E. Usually I can. Hey, Alluring, how are you? Oh, wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So, this one, yet again, I believe is going for 2,000, how much? This one is going for 2,570. Absolute freaking steal. My God. For what it can do, if it matches your mouth. If your mouth is small, you prefer a smaller air bubble. Maybe actually one of, like, I would hazard a guess that my flutists with asthma might really like this. Because you don't feel like you have to go into it, you know? And that's just me guessing, though, because I don't have asthma, so I can't, like, completely verify this. But I have a feeling that friends with asthma, our fluty friends with asthma, might really, really like this. So, Alluring, you're doing great. New hearing aids, so you're ready to flute more? Hell yeah! You don't have to what into it? Into it. Oh, I love it. Okay. I'm stunned. We haven't even gotten to the Japanese one. I'm stunned. I'm stunned. I'm amazed. I'm just very curious. I'm going to take my head joint out and I'm just going to compare the size of the lip hole. It would be very funny if I just cannot tell a difference. So this is mine. I think it is smaller. So like if I did this. Yeah. Yeah, it's smaller. And what I'm finding is more the interesting thing is I'm not sure if you guys can see it. But what's making it look bigger on camera is the fact that the edges of the lip hole here are kind of shaved more at a diagonal this way, like this. Can you guys see that? Yeah, I think you guys can see that in the light right there. That's very unusual. I've never really seen that look before. If I bring it up to you guys, I think maybe you guys can see it better. But yeah, do you see that? It's almost like the riser is like out on the sides. And I wonder if that shape is actually making it so that like it needs a smaller air bubble and like a smaller airstream. Yeah. I've never seen a lip hole like this. That's why I'm like showing it to you guys for so long. Yeah. It almost looks like the riser is coming out the sides. Yeah, it's so cool. Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, we got to move on to the next one. Very curious indeed. Indeed. Let me just zoom out again. so that I can fit everything into the frame. There we go. I dug up my silicone ring again. I went like more than a month without it because I kept forgetting to unpack it from when I brought it with me to NFA. Okay, so we're gonna put this on off to the side now. And we're gonna try the Japanese one. So this is the made in Japan version of what we just played. What we just played was the version that's made in China. This one is the one that's made in Japan. And what I did notice is that the even the way that they engraved the logo is a little bit different. So here you get kind of just like, they just like wrote in here. Like they wrote the FMC Masters Flute. Yeah, the FMC Masters Flute. They even have the serial number just straight up engraved, or the model number engraved on here. So it's the FMC or MFC 471H. And the H usually means B-foot joint. Oh goodness. It hates me. Okay, there we go. There you go. Japan. As you can see, it's written right there. Japan. Yeah, it's a gorgeous thing. I'm trying to hold it at the correct, there we go. That's the correct distance. Yeah. Gorgeous thing. So, immediately upon lifting this up, I'm surprised by how light it is. I believe this might be a seamed tube. Because as you can see from the head joint here, it has an extra ring on this end of the head joint. Usually that means that it's a seamed flute. From my understanding, seamed tubes tend to be like a little lighter. They tend to be a little thinner. Although I believe the tubing size is the same. It's your standard one. But yeah, if I read out the specs here for you guys. So this is the MFC 471H. This is sterling silver, 0.925 silver head joint and body, silver plated mechanism. Drawn tone holes, French open hole model, pointed key arms, stainless steel springs, 0.016 inch or 0.40 millimeter tubing. That's standard wall. A equals 442, offset G, split E mechanism, B-foot joint, handmade in Japan. Now the next thing, I think I noticed this when I was taking photos of this. I believe this one is pinless. So if you look at the how the mechanism is put together here, yeah, this one, this is kind of my big telltale sign that it's pinless. Also, there are no pins here. So there should be pins right here, and there isn't. If we take out the pinned one from China. Yeah. Just so I can show you guys the difference. So, moving this up like this. So if we zoom in, I'm gonna have to polish all of these again, but it's okay for the sake of showing you guys. So you guys can see these two pins right here. See that? Those two little nubbies. So you can see from here that the mechanism looks very light. Um, I just noticed that there are no pins here. So I'll show you here. So you see that there's no nubbies, nothing. There's nothing. Pinless. I think this one's pinless. Yeah. So like kind of a lot of how the flute like is sort of put together, it can vary quite wildly. So there's that. If we take this away, and then I can show you both at the same time. Okay, so we have the pinless one here. So if we put them side to side, you guys can see here the pins here versus nothing here. And you can kind of see how, like, at least I tend to notice that the placement, do you notice that like the placement of like certain keys and stuff is like, I don't know, it's like a little bit different. Yeah, so there are some like very minor differences between these two. From what I can tell, the Japanese one is pinless. That would certainly explain some of the price difference here. So again, if we keep going down through Flute Center's very helpful handout for me. They're so sweet to do this. I didn't even ask them to do this. So the going price for this top one, the pinless one, from the one made in Japan, again, MFC 471H. The going price is $7,850. So we're looking at a difference between like this bottom flute here is $2,570 and this one is $7,850. So it more than twice the price. Yeah, so I was kind of curious what exactly is different. I mean, seeing that it's pinless, I'm like, okay, I can see that difference. So let me put away the 618, which is the one from China. So I'm going to put that one away, and I will polish that up later, but we should take out the rest of the flute here. So we have here the head joint, and we have the foot joint. Yes. So we have here, yeah, these are silver plated mechanism. Okay, so let me just kind of zoom out a little bit so we can put it all in here so you guys can oogle it while I read here. This way you guys can see the whole thing. There we go. Okay. So comparable models is Muramatsu GX, very popular one. It's a lot of people's forever flute, which that one is going for $100 more, $7,950 for the same specs. Oh, I didn't know that the GX had silver plated. I'm just going to look that up really quickly. So the Muramatsu GX. Would you look at that? The GX is silver plated. And it's pinned mechanism. This one's pinless. Yeah, this one is pinless. At least from what I can tell. Huh. Okay, other comparable models, Sankyo 301, which was going for 8,100. Also, it's around the 8,000 price tag. So Flute Center is carrying the version that has a C-sharp trill, which does raise the price a little bit. Miyazawa 402, also a very popular one that I've noticed. This one is going for 7,295 many head joint options with the Broger mech, so pinless. So yeah, this is a great affordable option for silver tube handmade flute. I completely agree. So this is more like, I would say maybe the feel of this one, I think is going to probably yeah, definitely feel closer to that like solidly pre-professional. Like maybe like literally just like one increment down from professional. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. So let's put this together, give it a whirl. I need to remember to keep drinking water, by the way. I had a really hard workout this morning, and I often find that if I don't drink enough water throughout the day, I get very faint. Okay, let's put this together. So I'm going to switch this up now. We are going to do text. This is going in. Okay. And then let's see, where's a good place to put this? So this is Flute Masters. And this is, was it MFC 471H? MFC 471H. Okay, wonderful. So this is the one from Japan. I'll put this here, Japan. Wonderful. Okay, let's do this. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Yeah, very light. Has that same kind of like very light feel. Even the B foot joint feels very light to me. Then we've got our head joint. So nice. Okay, let's see how she plays. Again, very well balanced. Very, very well balanced. Okay. I again could not tell that it was a split E mechanism. I will say though, if I'm being super nitpicky, the mechanism on this is even more buttery than the other one. But the other one is crazy buttery already. But like if we're talking like actually comparing the two, this one is just that tad bit smoother. Just that tad bit smoother. Whew. Okay, what's very interesting to me is that this one plays with a larger air bubble. This one, I wouldn't say it is as large as other like air bubbles, like American flute air bubbles, but it is larger than the other one. And so because of that, that low C does actually sit in front of my lower teeth. Like it does sit lower because of the B-foot joint. Okay, if I were to guesstimate, the air bubble is approximately maybe like 85% the size of what I'm used to for like an American flute. It's still smaller. But it's just a hair smaller. So it's a hair smaller. I am noticing that I don't have to go as low as I think I need to. So again, I think that like range of motion in the mouth is just proportional to the size of the air bubble. So it is dipping a little bit lower. That low C is dipping a little bit lower because the air bubble is a tad bigger. So I wonder what's causing that. I honestly, I have no idea what's causing that, but that's what I'm feeling. Okay. Yeah, because I don't know if you guys heard, but when I was like messing around with it, it was starting to kind of like dip a little bit, like I was kind of like missing it. And I think it's because I was overshooting it. Okay. Okay. This one is slightly different. This one is the high B flat is the outlier. And what I realize now is that the reason, do you guys hear how easy it was for me to get the high C? And it was because it's very low in the mouth. So I want to rectify my words concerning this. I think the whole range is just lower. So but I will say that the size of this air bubble is still smaller than what I'm used to. It's like 85% the size, like slightly bigger than the one from China. So, but still small. So it's small, about 85% the size of what I'm used to. The whole thing is lower. So it makes high notes very, very easy to get, like extremely easy to get. So let's do some drawing. So I feel the low C like here. it's not as low as I would feel on other flutes, I think. But it's still like, it's a tad lower. I feel it like it's like here. Yeah, so that's the C. Now I'm going to find one octave higher. Okay, if I'm not incorrect, so I think the other reason why this is a lot easier for me to get like most of the notes out is because the air bubble is more against my teeth than it is against the inside of my top lip. I feel like the C is like here-ish. Yeah, it's more comfortable for me because it's against my teeth. So the G is like here. Oh, comfortable, comfortable for me. For me, that is. C is like here. E is right here. Yeah, so I'm feeling the G just above it. Like they're actually getting closer and closer together. And then the B flat is the one that comes down and forward. Yeah, so the B flat is the one where I feel it against the back, more leaning against the back of my top lip. Like around here, maybe. I do need to kind of like shove everything kind of forward. It feels like it's like just above, like here. Yeah, something like that. So if we're to label this, yeah, so this does actually, like, I would say, like, I would classify this as, like, it feels like a cousin to the other one that we just tried. Well, we'll have to label it on this side. G5, C6, E6, G6, and then this one is B flat 6, and then this one is C7. Wonderful. Okay. So, like, if we're to swap back to the other one, yeah, you can see what we're working with here. Like, they're similar enough, but they're sort of like, they're kind of, they're like cousins, I want to say, you know, or like, you know, like siblings where one took after mom and the other one took after dad, you know? Like that's kind of how it feels to me. Hello, Rogue. How are you? If you were a flute brand, you would be, let's see, you would need to play a few more, but you want to be a Miramatsu. Okay, okay. All right, let's play with, like seeing this, I'm thinking that the tonguing again is going to be right behind, just between the teeth. So let's test that really quick. Oh, oh, oh my God. For the first time, I actually need to roll my foot joint away from me. Because normally my pinky is so short and like, you know, with small hands that usually I have to roll the foot joint really close to me in order for it to be comfortable. But here I'm like, oh my God, I actually have to roll it back out. Designed for small hands. I'm okay. What I'm realizing, I know this has nothing to do with articulation, but what I'm realizing is I am overshooting with my ring finger. Like, because I have had to learn to adjust my small hands to, you know, flute key spacing. And I'm actually over adjusting right now. Like, this is, like, it feels like it's closer together. Like, to the naked eye, it looks the same as any other flute I've seen. But, like, it feels closer together. I would say that the tonguing is exactly like the other one. Maybe very slightly further back. Like, I don't stick my tongue out as far, you know, between my teeth, because this one is a slightly further back. So it feels like you can be kind of lighter between your teeth as a result. So I will, let me draw that in here just to kind of complete the drawing. So like, I feel like the tongue is like here, like, yeah, maybe slightly further back, like that. And the K also kind of feels like it's not making full contact with the roof of the mouth. Like, kind of feels like I'm going like here. Yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly that. Ooh, there we go. Exactly that. This means that you can probably go really fast with double tonguing. Really, really fast. I think what I want to do now is a little bit of tone color dynamic stuff. Interesting. Okay, so this does behave differently than the Chinese one. When it grows, the air bubble doesn't grow on all sides evenly like this. I find that even though I am kind of like shoving the air bubble back when I get louder, I find like if my teeth were here and then the air bubble's like here, right? And then I'm like trying to shove it back when I get louder. So the air bubble grows like this. Do you guys see that? Like the back of it kind of grows out and underneath it. So if I draw it here, so just I'll draw it within the mouth. So like, for example, if we do it on G5, right? So this is about mezzo forte. But then if we make it really loud, I feel like it's kind of it comes into here and like it moves here and it grows like this. Maybe a little bit bigger than that. Like the G5 would sit here and kind of feel like that. Like I would have expected it to kind of sit maybe like the size of it. I expect to be more like this, but then the bigger size is actually what happens. So you have to kind of grow the size of the air bubble further back and underneath. So I'm just going to test that again. Yeah, behind it and under. If you don't grow the air bubble behind and you only do it under, you also don't get the full resonance. So like it has to, the whole air bubble gets much larger behind it and underneath. So it's just this kind of like, if we, oops. Can I redo what I did before? There, like that. It has to be behind and under. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So now let's do, I'm going to mess around with tone color. It's related to this movement with the dynamics, but let me try one octave higher. Okay, it's really hard to describe because like I almost feel like I want to create like a 3D model for you guys to understand what I'm doing. But I I will show you the side and front view. So the side view is like if we're going thinner, like let's say that your air bubble is like here, okay? You move, like, to get the richer sound, you move the whole air bubble down and back, like here, around here. So your air bubble placement now has to go down and back diagonally. So this is the side view. The front view is that you're going from kind of this shape to this shape. Does that make sense to you guys? So I'll put here, this is very unusual. I've never experienced this on any flute before, where the whole air bubble has to move to do the tone color manipulation. So I'll put here tone color. Actually, I'll put it over here, tone color. And then we're gonna put here, this is the side view, and then this is the front view. Side view, and then this one is front view. It's very interesting. I've never experienced this on a flute before. This is very interesting. I'm just gonna mess with it a little bit more. So I will say that because of this added movement that you have to do, like you can't just stay in the same spot and then just manipulate the shape of the airstream to get the full like range. Because you have to do this kind of like slight movement, I'm finding that it is slowing down the responsiveness of the tone color. So like, that's why I was so surprised by the other one, because the other one, it was just instant. Like, you know, you want to like change tone color, instant. Now, I do want to explain to you guys that this is neither a good nor a bad thing. This is a preference thing. So if you like to sit in like what I call the driver's seat and drive manual. So if you like to drive manual and you like to be the one in control of your tone color at any given moment, like you think of a tone color and you want it to happen, then you would like the SFL 618, for example. Like that, the Chinese version of this one will, like, it's instant. The moment you change that shape of your air bubble, instant response. This one will lock you into a tone color more readily. And I think it's because of essentially what I just found out here, was that if you do want to change between tone colors, you have to change the entire placement of the air bubble, right? Now, some people like to drive what I call, people like to drive automatic. So some people, you know, this depends on your personality, your hobby, your career, who you play with, what you play for, et cetera, et cetera. You may find that you are just more suited to having the flute lock you into a certain color palette, right? But the nice thing about this flute is that you have the option to dip into other tone colors. It just, you know, like takes a little bit more time to do it because you have to move. So if you find that you are the type of player where like if for this phrase you want this tone color, then that's great. You can just stick your tone color, like stick your air bubble where it needs to stay, and it'll just be that tone color for that phrase. And then in another phrase, if you want it to be like richer, you just snap your air bubble lower and back, widen it out a little bit, and then you'll get that nice resonant, rich tone color coming through for the entire phrase. It is less responsive if you want to go between tone colors in the same phrase. Not impossible, just a slower response. And this is absolutely something that some people actually want. So I want to make that very clear that I'm not making a judgment call. I am just telling you guys how it is to me. Okay? My bias is that I love to be in the driver's seat. I want to, like, within the same note, I want to be able to just at will change tone colors. I am that type of loony, crazy person. Okay? I understand most people don't like to play the flute the way I do. I'm a weirdo. Okay? So, if anything, my assessment of this flute is that actually, I think in actual practice, more people may prefer this one because this, like, if you were to just compare between these two Flute Masters flutes, more people might respond well to this one because most people are expecting the flute to kind of dictate a tone color palette for you to play within. And the nice thing is that this one can dip into other tone colors if you want to, just not as insanely immediate of a response as the other one. So that's what I wanted to just explain there. I think this is very interesting and very cool. Okay, we're just gonna mess a little bit with mechanism and then just play around with some tunes. So mechanism. Butter. It is smooth. All right. I can tell the difference. This one is smoother action than the other one. But the thing is that the other one, I actually thought the other one was pinless too. That's the thing. It almost feels, it's more like this is smoother pinless than that one. But the thing is that the other one's pinned and it felt like pinless to me. And this is even smoother than that. So very impressive. I'm going to try the trills. Okay, this one I feel is more what I'm used to. So it has that nice snap because there's a little bit of resistance. This one feels more normal to me. Oh, okay. So what's interesting about this B flat lever, and I think I should show you guys a close-up of this. And I think we need to get the other one out. So this one, the placement is very similar, but the key itself is like almost kind of flipped up a little bit. So it's easier to find with your finger. Do you see how low that's sitting? But you see how it's kind of twisted and tilted? Look at that. Yeah. So the whole thing is kind of twisted, and then this way, your finger just needs to kind of like rotate a tiny bit and it's already hitting it. I really like this. This is fantastic. So I'll show you guys on the other one. So you can see how this one is not tilted. Like it's not kind of like tilted that way. This one is very low profile though. So I also found this very easy to find. Is that this one though I find very interesting that it's clear that it's like designed for you to just kind of like flick your wrist and be able to hit it. That's very cool. I very much enjoy that. Yeah, as I said before, split E mechanism, I can't even feel it. It's so smooth. The gizmo key, I find a little bit of resistance more, but at least it matches. Less snap than the trill keys, but you know, you don't use the gizmo to trill, so it's like whatever. Yeah. Very even. So the mechanism is like very, very slightly resistant. So it will, you can put a little bit more weight into how you play. So if you like that, you're gonna really like this. But very even, smooth, butter, like, oh, that is very nice. Very, very nice. Yeah, G sharp key feels very, very comfortable. As you can see, look how like, it's almost like it was made for my hand. Like I'm not stretching and I'm curved. That's so comfy. Okay, so mechanism is lovely, beautiful. Let's try out some tunes. Casey, hello, welcome back to the stream. Right now, I'm not taking requests because I want to try the same exact tunes that I tried on the other flute that I just reviewed. So let me do that first. If I have time, maybe I might do that, but I'm sorry. I need to kind of complete the review right now. So I don't know if you guys heard how settled into kind of the same tone color that was. Lovely. Very reliable. So, for example, I would say that like if you are like doing, for example, like you're playing in a group, or you're doing recording or something, and you need something like a very reliable like flute that will just give you this tone color that you're gonna stay in. This is really good for that. Very good. So let's complete that though. I haven't completed the song. Okay, definitely in that lower octave, I could feel that there's a little bit more kind of air bubble juggling that I need to do. Like I have to like move the air bubble more. You can see it on this map too, that there's like a huge gap between C4 and C5. But I don't know if you guys heard how nice those high notes just kind of like sailed right out. They just sailed right out because they were predictable. That's the thing. The like I could just be like, oh, I know they're gonna sit there, and I'm just gonna send my air bubble up there, and it's just gonna come right out. So my assessment of this is just like reliability. That like insane predictability and reliability. You'll stay in the same tone color, you know, if you put your air bubble in the right spot. You know what I mean? Like it's very reliable. Very, very, very reliable. The other one is flexible. This one is reliable. And so I think it really just kind of depends on the type of flutist you are, which one you want. Okay. Again, you sit that air bubble where it needs to be with the correct shape of the air bubble. You're locked into that tone color, right? But you could hear that I could do a very different tone color from the previous little excerpt, right? Yeah. Was that you? Did you distract me? But yeah, that is stunning that you can do that. I'm going to try the same other tunes that I did before. I've done it in a while. Yeah. Yeah. Like it can do it. I feel like I can't get quite that fuzziness that I would like. The other one really delivered that fuzziness that I was looking for. This one resists it a little bit. But you like it, eh? Let's try another one. Wow. Okay. What occurred to me when I was playing that excerpt was the fact that this doesn't actually feel completely silver to me. It really doesn't feel fully silver. Like, I'm playing on it closer to how I play on a flute with gold in it, which is wild. I think that's wild. Like, it's like it you know, especially because you mentioned, Nicholas, that I sound really good on silver, on this silver. I always feel like I sound really brash on silver. That, like, there's this sort of brashy sound to it. But, like, I don't get that with this. Like, I can still have that silver ring without the brashness. And that's me, you know? So, like, I wonder if other people are going to feel a similar thing, that they almost feel like they're playing something with a bit of gold in it. Huh. Okay. I do have a tiny bit of time. I need to go in 10 minutes. So let's see if I can find someone's, that's Howl's Moving Castle, is that right? The merry-go-round of life, right? Let's see. Oh, I misspelled it. That's why. I don't know if this is in the right key. I almost feel like I have a slightly better understanding of, like, how the flutes are getting the sound that they're getting when I listen to non-American orchestras play this type of thing. Hi, Chi Eduardo. Long time no see. How are you doing? Hi, Isaac. Isaac, you are a Miyazawa Vision. Oh, yes. I love it. Um, Wow. Yeah, I don't entirely feel like I'm playing on complete silver. Um, I really don't feel it. It's wild, completely and utterly wild to me. Um, what the heck? Okay, I gotta clean up. So while we clean up, I'm going to just kind of give you guys my concluding thoughts, which is that um, these flutes are freaking gorgeous. They're wonderful. The make is incredible. Smooth action, pinned, pinless. amazing. I enjoy the fact that they, like, even though these flutes have technically almost the same specs, the only thing that's different is I believe this one is pinless and the other one is pinned. And this one may have a seamed tube and that one may not. But really the rest of the specs are pretty much exactly the same. I enjoy the fact that they play wildly differently from each other. They're very different. The SFL 618, the one from China, is so flexible. I think for me, the only thing I wish was that the air bubble sat a little bit further back. If it sits a little bit further back, would be like insanely perfect for me. Like I'll bet if I just like popped a like a woodify on it and then like forced the air bubble to go further back in my mouth, that would be perfect. So yeah, but that one is flexible. This one is reliable, insanely reliable. Just like, you know, you want it to play in a certain tone color, you put your air bubble there, it will do it and it will not deviate. So yeah, just extremely reliable, and just wonderful. But yeah, they play very differently from each other. Like you can tell that they're made for two different flutists. Yeah, so I think what I will say is that I'm particularly impressed with the price point of the one from China, the SFL 618, because for what it can do, I'm insanely impressed with that price point. But yeah, there you go. So Flute Masters, you make beautiful flutes. I'm so happy and honored to try them, and to do like full review on 2 of them. I would love to do more. I would love to review their like complete and utter professional end flutes. I'm very curious. Like I could only try them so much when I was at the booth, and it's loud at NFA, so like I wasn't able to do like a full like a complete full review. So I would love to do a full review of like one of their professional level flutes. This is pre-professional, but just stunning flute. Both of these flutes. So yeah, definitely small air bubble. I want to include that in the conclusion here. So small air bubble, smaller than your typical of American flutes, which is perfect for people with smaller mouths. And my guess is that it'll feel nicer for people with asthma as well. You know, like your air will go further. So if you're a smaller person, you won't feel like you're like kind of, you know, dying of not enough air. So yeah, lovely flutes. Thank you, Flute Center, for lending these to me to review, and also for doing that lovely write-up. Just that was really nice for me to just be able to read off of that. So there you go. I'm done, guys. That's the review. What did you guys think? KCE, you're thank you. You're so kind. Chiodardo, off-topic question. How do I get an extremely fast and smooth 3-octave chromatic scale? Obviously practice, but how should you practice the scale? Should you segment it or just run through it? Segment it, 100%. Segment it, and go in different orders. Like start from the top and then build backwards. You know, start from the top, build around the top. You know, like do 1 note on each side of the top note, then 2 notes on each side of the top note, then 3 notes. You know, so you want to build around. You want to build backwards, you know, that type of thing will help. Yeah, because essentially what you're asking for is muscle memory, right? Yeah, chunking, know your groupings. Yep. Oh, you guys are saying all the right things. Yeah. Know your anchor notes. Yeah. Isaac, welcome back to the stream. You came in late, but you heard the last flute. It sounded amazing. It's an amazing flute. It is really an amazing flute. Both of these flutes are stunning. So they're made for different people, though. That's what I will say. Like, these two flutes are made for different people, different needs. This one is, well, both people will be on the smaller side because they both use smaller air bubbles. But this one is for someone who needs a more kind of like a flute that will kind of reliably stay in the same tone color for like a phrase or something. Whereas the other one will just go with you. Like, it's super flexible. So it really depends on the player. I prefer the more flexible, but I can see the, actually in real life, probably more people will tend to want a flute that will stay reliable for them. Yeah. Let's see. Chi Eduardo, it's okay. Everyone else is in the same boat as you. Everyone thinks that that third octave is just weird, full of weird fingerings. Thank you, Michael. That's so kind of you to say. Okay, I better go now because I really need to get some more water. I can feel a headache coming on. I think I still didn't drink enough water. Okay, so I'm going to go and chug some water, maybe get a little bit of a snack as well so my body can absorb it properly. But that's it for today. Thank you all so much for joining. Please stay happy, healthy, and safe. Thank you again to the Flute Center for sending me these flutes to try. Thank you, Flute Masters, for creating these gorgeous flutes, and also for being so kind at your booth, which, by the way, I forgot to show you guys. They gifted me their bag. This is Flute Masters' bag, and it is a freaking gorgeous gig bag. So two huge pockets here. Here, let me make that go away. Yeah, two huge pockets on the side. In the back, you can turn it into a backpack. And on the inside, you can hold two flutes. So you can hold two flutes. This thing is like kind of like, there's like a hard material in here, so you can even put sheet music in here and it won't get crushed. Put tablet, whatever in there. On the other side, pencil grippers. Multiple like bags, like shoulder strap, pockets. Amazing, wonderful. I ended up just using this at NFA, and yeah, I don't do gigs very often, but if I do a gig anytime, this is probably going to be the bag. So thank you, Flute Masters, for gifting this to me. This was like, I wasn't expecting it at all. They were just so sweet and so kind, and they just gifted this to me at the booth. But yeah, if you guys want to buy yourselves a Flute Masters bag, they're gorgeous. They're wonderful. But yeah, so thank you, Flute Masters, and thank you to you guys for watching. Please stay happy, healthy, and safe, because there's no music without the musician. I will see you. I don't know if it's a collab with Yoshida Porter. I have no idea, but it was a gorgeous bag. But I will see you guys tomorrow for my practice stream. Okay, laters, guys. Bye-bye.